So I have a few minutes before I go to bed. I thought I'd make this brief video, talk about fibromyalgia. Now, I'm certainly not a medical expert on the subject, but I have felt significant pain from fibromyalgia for many years now. I don't know exactly how many years ago it was I was diagnosed, perhaps 7 or 8. Irregardless, fibro can cause a lot of problems, can it? And, if you're not used to the pain when you first get it, and perhaps, before you're even diagnosed, you know that there's something wrong. And you get these sharp, tingly sensations, at least I do, in your extremities. And it hurts. So, it's peace of mind once it's diagnosed and you know exactly what it is, but it doesn't make it any easier to deal with. But I think the thing about fibro is it can be controlled somewhat through exercise and, a good diet, and all of those things matter. It's not going to cure the problem for sure, but it can be quite painful. So, of course, different people are affected by pain in different ways, and so I'm not going to sit here and tell somebody else that has fibromyalgia how they should feel, or vice versa. It doesn't work that way, but I'm here to try to add support. And, you have to learn your limitations, and that's really a tough thing to do, especially when you're used to doing things. And, it's one thing to be young and not have much pain and be able to do things and not think about it too much. But you get older, and of course you slow down, and you add these diseases like fibromyalgia. Well, it's going to slow you down even more. So you got to be more aware of your surroundings, and it can be tough. It was tough for me. It was tough for me to admit that I couldn't do as much as I used to anymore, and it was tough for me to say, well, I can't do that right at this moment. I got to rest. But your body is certainly going to appreciate it, and, your peace of mind as well, because sometimes people, again, would say that, you're being lazy and all of those hurtful things, and that's, it's really hard to deal with. And so I feel for people that, go through that from their loved ones. They're told that, they're faking it or whatever, and that's can be very hard. So I encourage you, if you're in that situation, to talk to somebody, get some professional help, and try to get your family to see that, get them to talk to the doctors, the specialists, so that they can see, well, no, this isn't true. This pain is real, and there's nothing being faked here. But I also want to make mention, too, of the fact that when you're young, at least when I think back to my youth and my teen years and even my early 20s, where I did have these sharp pains that, now I know were fibromyalgia. And that's something that's not talked about a lot either, but these symptoms can manifest themselves in your younger years, such as, like I said, the teen years, and even moving on forward till it either becomes full-blown fibromyalgia or it's diagnosed in that way. So sometimes, younger ones, their bodies are still growing and so on and so forth, but a lot of these things that happen, they catch up with you later in life, and you might think back, well, yeah, okay, I had this certain problem when I was young, and now it seems to be manifesting itself in more ways. So, it's really beneficial for those that have fibromyalgia to not be too hard on themselves. And I'll tell you, that was something that I had to struggle with for many years, and probably at times still do, but I'm getting better at letting myself off the hook, so to speak, or knowing when I have to rest, lay down, and not beating myself up, because really beating yourself up and feeling that you're no good is not beneficial and can be quite harmful, in fact. So these things that I've mentioned, well, maybe you go through them too. Maybe you're struggling with fibromyalgia and, it seems unbearable. And I'm not here to pronounce any type of treatment or any type of medication, because, your doctors are obviously going to have their prescriptions and their ideas, and that's, completely fine. But I'm just telling you what has worked for me. And, dealing with fibromyalgia, I found that there weren't a lot of medications that were beneficial, so I stopped taking them. And I'm not going to mention any names because, again, that's not what I'm here for. So my point is that you kind of have to self-diagnose yourself. You have to kind of realize that if something isn't working, then, it's okay to stop taking it. And, your doctor doesn't always have the final say in that, but you're the one that has to live with those decisions. And it's okay that if something isn't working, or if it's even making you worse. I mean, a lot of medications unfortunately cause nausea and those types of problems. So, you have to kind of be self-aware of that and make the best decision for yourself. Now, of course, again, I'm not saying don't take your doctor's advice, or don't take advice from a psychiatrist or a specialist, whoever it may be, but you have to kind of really, well, almost, think about it, meditate on what they've said, and give it some time. Like sometimes you need to give it a few months to find out if something's not working, or if something does work. And if something does work, then that's great. The bottom line here is that we want to get better. We don't want to continue to suffer with what we're going through. So I've been through that and down that road as well. And, I've come to the conclusion that, again, medications that aren't working, I stop taking them because of the side effects. And something that does work, it's great, it's good, it's something that you can keep taking. So I hope I've been a little helpful here, in talking about this fibromyalgia, because it's been a significant issue of mine for a few years now. And I'm, again, like I mentioned, it's even before the diagnosis, when you know that there's something wrong. The diagnosis just kind of reaffirms, what you've been living with for your, previous to that. So it's good to know what you got, but again, it's not the end of the world. But it really takes the time to get to know your own situation, and being able to say to yourself, okay, well, I can deal with this in a positive way and not let it totally affect my life, because there's been a lot of people that allow it to get them so down and so discouraged, and those things are natural. And I'm not saying that they're not going to happen, because they've happened to me as well, but looking forward and being able to get help is what is important. So again, I want to just say that I'm not a medical professional. I'm only speaking from my personal experience, and I'm hoping that my words can have some benefit to those that are suffering. Again, I haven't scripted anything. I've been dealing with this issue for a few years myself, so I have a way of talking about it and saying how I feel. So with that, I wish everyone a good day or night, and we will talk again. Thank you.